What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the BlockHash Podcast. Today, I have an exciting guest, the CEO and co-founder of InceptionLRT, João, here on the show to talk about LRTs, liquid staking tokens, what those kind of are, the state of the crypto market, what they're doing in general. I think this is going to be a very fantastic episode. We're going to dive into a lot of different topics and, really kind of unravel what's happening in the world of crypto as well at this given point in time. So, João, welcome to the show, man. I'm super happy to have you here.
Hello. Thank you so much. Very excited to be here. So we already started our conversation in the backstage. So very excited to start bringing the conversation to the main stage and really developing on some fantastic conversations.
Absolutely. So to kick it off, let's tell people a little bit about yourself. I'm sure they'll be curious to what you've done prior, what your background is, before crypto, before Inception LRT, and then what was kind of like the driving factor that got you into this world.
Absolutely. So my background is in traditional finance. So actually, I worked more in the banking and financial sector. So I grew up in Portugal. After Portugal, lived in Berlin in Germany, lived in London and worked in London for a while. Then moved to the US, where I did my master's degree in UC Berkeley, and worked on also on venture capital, crypto, etc. So, but looking at crypto specifically, actually, my first crypto endeavor, so how I actually started in crypto was back in 2013. So I discovered a forum called Bitcoin Talk, and I started to really digging deep into what is BTC and why is this something. And I got super curious right from the beginning, like, okay, this BTC thing, this seems like something really good and really critical, so I want to know more about this. So after I read a lot, I started actually at the time I was going through my first years of college, and I started telling all my colleagues about BTC, what BTC was. I started also doing like papers on BTC at school, at university, about cryptocurrency, and everyone thought that I was crazy, right? So I was like, what the hell is BTC? This is 2013, right? This is like early years, and everyone was like, this guy is crazy. Like, what the hell is BTC? So as more and more I talked about it, this was one day during that date that one of my former colleagues of university, he came to me and said, well, what if we actually build something, and that's how I actually started the first Bitcoin mining company in Portugal back in 2013. We kept it open from 2013 to 2017, and we ended up with 3 offices, 3 data centers. I started working directly with Antminer and Bitmain from Shenzhen, China. I was importing machines at the time directly from Shenzhen because there was no one that was building machines in Europe or that you can get it anywhere else unless from China. So this was actually my first way of getting in touch with actual crypto. After a while, Ethereum came. I was a Bitcoin maxi at the time, so I was like, I don't care about Ethereum. Well, I resent those days because I had literally on my desk the opportunity to start buying Ethereum at 50 cents. And I said that, well, this doesn't seem reasonable, so I don't care about Ethereum. And I just dropped it and I didn't care. But yeah, so by the end of 2017, we decided to eventually close and sell the company because of not only pressures from the Chinese market, also because the BTC halving in 2016 dropped our rewards to half. Of course, the expenses keep going up, and then the mining difficulty also kept rising and rising because of more and more miners from China getting in to actually the market. So we were not getting profitable anymore. So we decided to close after almost 5 years. But it was an amazing venture and actually allowed me to get in crypto. After that, as I said, I worked in the financial sector in London, worked in a fintech fund in Silicon Valley as a VC. I was actually even talk with you in the backstage why I also left San Francisco. So San Francisco at the time, I would say that was a very nice place to live. I'll say that after COVID got a little bit maybe too dangerous, like the fentanyl crisis and all that. I think it's a little bit a weird place right now. So yeah, so after COVID, I came back to Europe. I worked for a while for a private equity / family office business that was focusing more on emerging markets. But it was a time that I said, okay, since I was working in fintech in San Francisco, it really opened again my appetite for crypto. So I decided to start doing advisory on a couple companies, a couple angel checks here and there. And about Q2 last year, a couple of friends came to me and said, like, like you really should look into this eigenlayer thing and DeFi and more into this new technology, right? So, and you, because you are in the space for so long and you are advising a bunch of companies, like this could be a great opportunity. And I look at it and I decided that this is the perfect opportunity for me to go back into the market and start something new from scratch and actually do something that matters. So I joined in forces in the beginning directly with a couple of VCs and a venture builder from Dubai called Tagus Labs. We joined forces and we started Inception right off the bat. So I got my co-founder, he's also from Lisbon, by the way. And my co-founder, we set up a team. So our tech team is actually ex-Anchor. So I was very fortunate to get people in the IT space that already know liquid staking. So as we start developing liquid restaking, you need to know liquid staking, right? So because we have a team that already is exposed to this type of markets, we were able to actually develop faster and I will say better than much other companies out there. So yeah, so to wrap this up, that was how actually we started Inception. So we started actually last year in August. Initially, I was starting to focus more on the native staking, and my co-founder Pedro focused more on the isolated staking. And I know that we are going to talk about that in a bit.
Mhm.
But then eventually we decided to really merge forces and build one bulky and very complex and complete protocol, which is Inception. And that is nowadays what we see as Inception.
And I know that this is something that's pretty different too. At least I haven't seen a whole lot of it before. This idea of liquid staking tokens. You want to kind of explain a little bit what Inception LRT kind of does in a nutshell, as well as what LRTs kind of mean and stand for?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we in DeFi, we and I say this because I come from the traditional finance world, and if you look in DeFi and you look at banking, it's actually very similar. The difference is that we are doing normally on-chain activity, of course, and banking is Web2 off-chain, of course. All right. So, but the products end up being very similar. So liquid staking and liquid restaking is actually a very simple concept of, for example, getting a mortgage, or in this case, as in the US, and you are American, you know this very well, double mortgage. So the concept of double mortgage is exactly what restaking is. So you take your ETH, which is
Hmm.
your money, which is your house in this sense. You do a mortgage. Then in exchange you get liquidity, which is a liquid token in this case. So in the LRT, and then you restake it again, you get the double mortgage and you get
Hmm.
token. So it's exactly like that. And if you want to get your ETH back, you just need to repay your mortgage and you get your initial ETH back. So that's it. And when the mortgage is staked, what happens is that exactly as a savings account, you get yields on top of that. So because your Ethereum is staked and is actually helping to foster security in the ecosystem, you get yields because of that. So it's actually a very simple concept when you see it like this. So you took your Ethereum, you stake it, you are helping the ecosystem, you get yields, you restake it again, you get more yields, and in exchange you get a liquid token. If you want your ETH back, you repay your debt, so to speak, your stake,
Hmm.
and you get your ETH back, and you stop getting rewards. So that's it.
It sounds a lot like the real estate market in the US and how you can kind of take a house and then borrow against it to buy another house.
Exactly, exactly. It's very similar to that. And the thing is, right now, you even have something called the DeFi loops, where you take your liquid token, then you can actually do a borrowing against another token, and you go again on the loop, and you stake it once again, you get another liquid token, and you can go around until you get actually the level of exposure or leverage that you want, or that you can have, because then you can get liquidated very fast if your leverage is like to the infinity, right? But yeah.
Yeah. So what are the, benefits and pitfalls of doing this? I'm sure there's some risk associated with borrowing against borrowing and then staking against staking. But at the same time, I'm sure there's tons of beneficial opportunities for someone that knows what they're doing as well. So what's the ideal benefit of being able to do this with liquid staking tokens? But at the same time, what are some of the risk factors?
Yeah, so for the beneficial factors is that, again, you are, by locking in more ETH, you are not only fostering the ecosystem of Ethereum, because you are actually putting more Ethereum in the market that is actually working for the ecosystem, and by doing that, you are actually allowing way more security, because you are securing the ecosystem by staking your ETH. And in terms of the risks, is that when you stake it once, exactly as a mortgage, you do it one mortgage is one thing. When you do it twice, you are leveraging your portfolio, right? So the risk here is exactly that. So for example, if you get slashed, if you get a slashing incident, then the slashing will happen on what we call the eigenpod. So when you go on eigenlayer, you have an eigenpod that is dividing on several AVSs. And if you get slashed, then you have 100% slashing opportunity here. Then it's divided by the AVSs, and each AVS, imagine that you have three. It will be 33% each. So you get divided by each slashing conditions. If one of the AVSs gets hacked or is malfunctioning or happens any type of negative event in the market, then you get slashed on that. Then part of your ETH gets slashed, meaning that if you are leveraging in a point that you are restaking multiple times, and inside eigenlayer you are actually using multiple AVSs to stake, this means that you are exposing your ETH to multiple risks, that instead of you having the opportunity to get slashed on one AVS right now, you got the opportunity to get slashed in multiple, which of course makes it a way more riskier situation. And now your next question is, so why people do it? Well, it's because of the yields. Like for example, if you go on Lido or Rocket Pool, you are staking once and you get like a maximum exposure of, imagine, like 4% of yields of maximum for per stake. On Eigen, when you are going to do the second stake actually can go on multiple AVSs. Let's imagine that you are going on three, and each one of these three has 4% yields. This means that then you can get the opportunity of only with one operation. In this case, in Inception, we do everything in the background for you. You click restaking with us, and we can get you 12% yields, for example, because you are actually going on multiple AVSs and you are restaking on multiple multiple AVSs. So each one will give you this percentage of reward. So the thing here is you are exposing yourself to more risk, but at the same time getting a way higher risk reward ratio. And then you will ask, okay, João, so what are you guys doing for to mitigate the risk? Absolutely. So what we are doing is not only we are right now building the first insurance against slashing on chain, but we are also working with, for example, distributed validator technology, which allows a way more transparent and secure way to actually do staking. We are working with, we only sign in tier one node operators, for example. So we are working with P2P. We are working with let me think. I can look at the list and tell you which is way faster.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Let me actually look at the list for you and tell you all the
Okay.
Risks, Inception security, audit features. Okay, I have it here, the list. So this is way faster to tell you than exactly. So we are working with, I will tell you the big ones like P2P, Anchor, A41, the SRV, Hill, AshKey, Everstake, etc. And
Mm-hmm.
these big players, which are all tier one, they rarely get slashed or never got slashed, So this means that by working with the best, we are actually reducing the opportunity, the hypothesis of slashing. And then if something happens, we have the insurance to protect the users. So that's why we think that, and this is also a conversation that I had since day one with Shiram, the creator of Eigenlayer, is that the most important thing when you are leveraging too much is to looking at the security and maybe to build some kind of insurance or some kind of preventive measures that if you are staking, let's say, millions or billions of dollars, which is already happening, these users are protected. So yeah, that's our biggest mission right now, is to be secure and transparent.
For the liquid staking tokens, I know there's different types, like native versus isolated. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so native is when you take your native Ethereum, your, I will say, normal Ethereum that you have on your wallet,
Mm-hmm.
and you stake it immediately. You don't need to go to any other process. Meaning that for you to restake native ETH, what happens is you take your ETH, you go on the Beacon chain, and from the Beacon chain, you go on Eigen. And we do everything for you, by the way. So when you restake on Inception, you stake your native ETH, and we will do this flow for you. So you stake it once and you stake it twice. When is the isolated staking, which is on the side of LSTs, is that when you have, for example, STETH or Lido ETH. So you
Mm-hmm.
take your Ethereum, you go on Lido, you stake it once, so you get staked ETH, and then you come to us and we do your restaking. We do the second layer. So we do the staking of staked ETH to Inception stake ETH, so in STETH. And what is the difference between isolated and a basket? So isolated is that we are doing unique pools per LST staking instead of putting in a basket. So other players in the industry, the majority, I will say, are choosing the basket because it's actually easier to set up a pool that has multiple assets inside than to set up 12 pools completely isolated. That's what we built.
Okay.
So if you look at our contracts, we'll see that currently we have 13 smart contracts, one for native ETH and 12 for all the staking opportunities that you see in the market, like STETH, CBETH, etc., etc., etc.
I imagine you guys probably are seeing strategies being built out for this too, right? I know it's very common in the DeFi space, yield farming and creating different yielding strategies to maximize, the tokens you're earning and the interest you're getting back. Do you guys have strategies starting to develop for this as well for liquid staking tokens? Because I feel like you could take Ethereum, stake it, do it again, maybe with some other crypto, maybe move things around. I'm sure there's a little bit of, game playing there.
Yeah. So this is a great question. So we as a company, we don't do that, but we have actually our Discord community where we do weekly AMAs, and we are right now also starting like kind of a DeFi academy for our
Okay.
community on our Discord, where we actually teach these kind of strategies. So because we are focused on the LRT specifically, on LRTs, we are not also doing the borrowing lending. Like for that you need to go to another company or another protocol. Of course that we have partnerships with many companies right now, and the easiest way, and as you said, like you asked about farming, for us right now the biggest farming opportunity is definitely the points. Probably already heard about the point system. So
Hmm.
by staking with us, you get points of Eigenlayer points, you get Inception points, and then as more activities you do, you get more points and boosts. And for example, we have also a couple of on-chain activities that you get extra points by following us on Twitter, by attending AMAs, etc. And all these points will eventually go through an airdrop, of course. So we are actually approaching TGE very soon, and all these people that have been farming the points, that have been active on our community, they will be getting a way chunkier percentage of the airdrop, of course.
Do you have any strategies that you can share, maybe like some gems that you can drop, like to kind of give like an idea? It doesn't have to be anything like specific. I'm just sure people are probably going to be curious, like what a strategy kind of looks like.
Yeah, so the way that we are building Inception is that we are trying to bring all the LRT yields and solutions in one very clean and very clear dashboard where the user can just interact, connect wallet, interact once or twice, and we do everything for you in the background. So the user will get the yields, the maximum yields as possible, and we'll do pretty much everything for you. Of course, if you want to lend and borrow, for example, we have a partner protocol named Davos that you can go on Davos, for example, Davos protocol, and then actually do a couple of DeFi loop strategies there and come back to Inception, for example, and then reloop it. So this is one of the strategies that some of actually our members are doing. But the way that we are looking at is by making sure that everything is in Inception, you don't need to leave the ecosystem, And so one thing, for example, I can even give here a small shout out to one other LRT that I think they are doing a really cool thing, which is EtherFi. So EtherFi just released a Visa card for the users, so you can actually get a card. And the way at the beginning, a lot of people question what was the objective behind that. So the objective is very simple, is that you keep your money inside EtherFi, and if you have yields, you spend it with your Visa card, So that is a way to actually retain your audience. It's something that we are also looking very deeply into that, and we actually might also do a partnership with Visa in the future, because it's a way to retain your audience. So, for example, one thing that we are actually building right now, and I wanted to share here on the podcast, is we are right now starting to be one of the first or the first, depending on the timing on the market, to build Bitcoin restaking. So we aim to be one of the first restaking protocols in the world to actually develop and to release BTC restaking. And this is something that for us is super, super exciting. Why? Because you can go on our dashboard, and if you have BTC on your wallet, one click, you are restaking. If you have ETH, one click, you are restaking. If you have staked assets, no worries. One click, you are restaking your restaked assets, So we want to make sure that the client has in one dashboard everything that they need, and we just are the most friendlier and at the same time the more complete protocol in terms of restaking, And in terms of yields, you asked about yields. So EigenLayer currently will be fully live by Q3, Q4. So currently, all the EigenLayer yields, it's something that is still a bit of a mystery. So currently, you have the first layer of yields, and everyone in the restaking world is waiting for EigenLayer yields. So probably this podcast will be out in maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. By the time that this will be out, maybe we are still waiting for the EigenLayer yields. But what I can say is when EigenLayer yields are out, then it will be those fantastic 12, 13, 14% yields, which everyone wants to see. So if you take those kinds of yields and then, for example, you loop it with Davos and you come back for an extra 14%, that's the good strategy, my friend.
Can you stake any kind of token? Like, is there a limit? Like, is this primarily Ethereum based, or are you chain agnostic?
So currently everything is EVM. So we have our internal bridge, and we are right now finalizing a full omnichain solution. So it will be actually ready by the end of this month. And by that, if you have Ethereum on any chain, any L2 will pretty much be able to use your stake with us. But yes, it's purely a Ethereum thing, So anything that is on EVM or Ethereum ecosystem related, it's what we are working on. But that's why the BTC is so exciting, because even though Ethereum is on number 2 and you have all these L2s and all the DeFi ecosystem is pretty much EVM, now the Solana ecosystem is starting to look like really, really promising. So And I already have some clients and some investors and partners saying like, hey guys, look at Solana, you never know. And it's true, so it's something that we might look in the future. So it's something that we can also definitely look at. But BTC, that's the future, my friend. Like if you look at the BTC, you see $1 trillion of BTC being stocked in wallets that no one is using. They are not getting any yields on top of this BTC. You are just getting the fluctuations of the market. So my question here, and what I want to do as a founder and as a company, is bring your BTC to us and let's put the 5-10% yields on top of your BTC. Because like, why having it just stopped on your wallet when you can put yields and good yields on top of your BTC? It's a no-brainer, So as soon as we have this solution ready, I know that will be extremely important. I know that a couple of other LRTs are also looking at this, for example, but I know this will be extremely major and will probably be the next big thing in the next 6 months or 1 year, 100%.
Yeah, this brings up another interesting question. Would this extend to Bitcoin's own developing ecosystem of ordinals and tokens being built on top of Bitcoin's blockchain? Like if there's some meme token or something built on top of Bitcoin as an ordinal, like would you be able to restake that too, or is this directly for Bitcoin?
So we are looking at all the options, right? So
Okay.
this is something that definitely we are researching. So this is a very heavy research team still, because even Babylon. So we are doing this in mainly in partnership with Babylon, which is imagine the Lido of staking for BTC. And even Lido, they are still testnet, so they are still testnet. They are always saying that they will release mainnet, but we still don't know when they are releasing mainnet, because even they are themselves, like, they still don't know a lot of things, and they are still thinking a lot about how to do things. So we that are building the next layer on top of Babylon, we also need to look at them and look at what they are developing so we can develop further too. So I would say that in the future, definitely possible. Working, for example, with the NFT markets and leveraging on NFTs. This is something that has been on our roadmap actually since day one, but we still haven't actually made it happen because we still didn't see the fit. But maybe this is the fit that can happen.
And what about stablecoins? I know a lot of people are liking the ability to. Crypto is a very volatile market, right? And it's changing all the time. Some people don't have the stomach for it, but stablecoins are a good kind of intermediary for most people where they don't have to worry about prices going crazy, but they can earn a yield still. Can you also restake Tether or USDC or something?
I got that question today, actually. Yeah, during one of our advisor meetings, one of my advisors said that there is a couple projects thinking about doing L2s that will allow restaking of USDC or USDT. So again, this is something that definitely I want to start looking at, and I do think there is a big potential, as you said. I think this might be even the future after BTC, because BTC
Okay.
is huge, but after BTC you have all the institutional money, all the money again that is stopped in stables. That if you can restake a stable, that will be huge. So definitely something that to look at. I think that it's still far away, because I only started hearing people talking about restaking stables for not so long ago, but it's definitely something that it eventually will be possible. And if we can do it, we will do it, of course.
Inception V2 listed in the questions here. What's Inception V2? When's that coming? What's that going to encompass?
So Inception V2, as I explained, is pretty much the merge that we did in early this year between the native staking and the LSD.
Okay. So you already had Inception V2. Got it.
Yes, we are Inception V2. Exactly.
What about V3?
Well, V3 is probably BTC, the stables, all
Okay.
the good stuff, Absolutely. Yeah. But like because when Inception started as a solo project, it was mostly focused on LSDs. Again, I was focused on more native staking on another project called Genesis, but at the same time, supporting Inception. Eventually, I came in completely full-time, and we merged, and now we are Inception V2. That's why the V2 is there.
When's V3, getting on top of Bitcoin and some of the other things for restaking that are coming in the future, is that this year? Is that 2025?
100%, 100%.
Okay.
Yes. So omnichain, full omnichain experience will come in the end of this month. BTC restaking end of August will be here.
Oh, very fast. Okay.
Yes, no, we are already doing it. So our developers are already preparing a solution. Babylon mainnet will probably come in 1 or 2 months. As soon as they are mainnet, we can also look at the market, study a little bit more, and then deploy. Because we are already building as we speak, so we just need to see how we can deploy and see all the small adjustments and then deploy. So I do believe by the end of August, early September, we should be okay to release the BTC staking solution. Yes.
And then do you guys have any like documentation or educational material or videos that are kind of out there? I'm sure a lot of people that come across this the first time, they're going to be like, huh? What's liquid restaking?
No, absolutely. Let me actually send you here to the chat that you can also use. So we are a completely fully transparent company. All our documentation is there. Everything about staking, restaking, how all the node operators work, all our features, how the insurance will work. So we have also a very cool feature called the Flash Unstake, which allows you to unstake in a matter of minutes instead of waiting for 7 days. That is the unbound period of EigenLayer. And we are the only company in the world with this feature right now. So this is something that we are also very excited about.
So what wallets can you connect to Inception LRT? Like, can you connect browser-based ones like MetaMask, for example, or can you connect a Coinbase wallet, or what are the limitations there?
So yes, we can. Okay, so currently we have so we have here actually on our documents the wallet section. So you can right now connect MetaMask, Wallet Connect, Trust Wallet, Coin98 Wallet, BitGet, Bybit, and also OKX Wallet too right now.
Any plans to connect to Cold Wallet?
Plans, yes, still on the pipeline.
The other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of take a 10,000-foot view and step back and look at the whole DeFi market right now and the whole DeFi industry. I should probably say industry instead of market with how much development is happening. But what do you think about the DeFi industry right now? In 2021, obviously, it was one of the major catalysts next to NFTs that were driving the market and driving money and liquidity injection and investment into the space, capital flow. And it feels like, DeFi might do that again because it just keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger. Obviously, we're heading into what looks like a very bullish cycle, maybe one of the biggest we've ever seen in crypto. We're just waiting on the retail market to actually get into the market again. But we have institutional money, billions and billions of dollars flowing in. It's insane right now. What do you think is going to happen maybe in 2025? Do you think DeFi is going to be a big catalyst and a big important part of this next market? And how do you see that kind of shaping out?
For me, and this is something that, so I've been speaking, I do a lot of public speaking on either crypto, on VC, and on finance in general. And I've been speaking about this like for years and years, like the big catalyst of really going through the insane bull market is the adoption of the Web2 world and adoption of like the banking system and adoption of all this, what we call right now the Web 2.5, right? As soon as these big players get in, it will change everything. And look at what happened this year. Big players, banks, ETFs, they are here, and this is what the crypto community was waiting for. I will say 10 years plus. People were waiting for this, and everyone was like, oh, maybe it will never going to happen. The thing is, it's happening this year. So, and I agree 100% of what you are saying, that this for me is going to be the biggest bull run ever, completely unstoppable, and you will never go back from these numbers. Like I see, of course, this is all very FOMO numbers, like Bitcoin at 100K, 200, 300. But the thing is, it's not impossible. It's completely possible. I remember when I started buying BTC at $100. Right now it's 60K. What the hell? Like I sold majority of my BTC when it hit like 1,000 or 2,000 because I thought it was impossible to go higher. Now it is 60K. Come on, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Like I think you even have that video of like a kid when this is on YouTube where Bitcoin hit $100 and he was buying since it was like $1 or something. And the guy recorded the video saying like BTC at 100, this is impossible, it's going to crash. Again, it's at 60K. It's crazy. So, and this is purely supply and demand, purely supply and demand. BTC is capped top at 21 million. So if the demand continues to rise, the supply it's there, it's capped. Demand continues, the price will go up indefinitely, like completely to the infinite, it continues to go up and up and up and up until probably millions. And how this reflects on the DeFi world, which is your question, I think it reflects very, very well, because then you are actually building a robust banking system on top of crypto, and you need BTC for that. You need the mother coin, as they call it, to actually completely completely boost all this market, because if you have BTC going up and up and up and is actually more valuable than gold eventually, because the thing is, and some people actually don't know this or forget that gold is actually not a limited resource. Why? Because even though it's limited on Earth, you already have companies like, for example, Virgin Galactic, that they now have space scouts that can go on asteroids to dig up for gold in space. Means that gold supply will continue to increase even if you need to go on space to continue to get gold. BTC, again, is the limited, it will be no more BTC. So that is crazy. And when you put that in a system that is already complex with thousands and thousands of companies, thousands and thousands of people working full time now on Web3 and actually making it way better than Web2 people, it's just like a matter of time that you actually have a very robust system, a very robust DeFi system that makes sense, And again, if you look at the traditional finance world, you see that there is so many instruments, banking and financial instruments that exist in the traditional finance world that still don't exist in DeFi, that we can still leverage on these instruments. We can create new things. We can create, because it's a more volatile system, crypto, you can actually get more yields, you get more interesting stuff. And it moves so fast that you can build and build and build. And I think that, like, if you look at the Web2 system, which is old and boring, and everyone is like looking that they are oldest people on earth, you look at the Web3 guys and everyone's so happy and like just going and going and building. It's a different world. Like you cannot go against it, And again, the best talent is actually in DeFi and crypto, like the big banks, they are struggling to get people because everyone that is actually good is building on Web3, and yeah, that's the reality. Like we have a better ecosystem that pays better, that attracts the best minds. If you look at many PhDs right now are looking at crypto to build their theses. They are looking at doing more research because there is so much stuff to do, and it keeps getting more and more exciting. So I do think that the future is definitely very bright for at least the next 10 years plus. Like it will be so much stuff to do that you'll never get bored. That's the way I see it.
I have one more question before we start wrapping it up. And I don't usually talk about politics at all. Everything is always very educational and kind of forward thinking and focus on the tech and focus on building the use cases and what people are doing in the space. But I think it would be a disservice not to talk about what's happened recently, because I think it's going to have a profound effect on this industry going forward. Obviously, this episode will probably come out a week from when we recorded it. But today, recording it, we're 5 days past an assassination attempt on our former president here in the US, President Trump. He's kind of positioned himself as a very pro crypto candidate. And he's really, I don't know if he fully understands it, but he seems like he understands it more than he did back in 2016 when he first took office, because he was very kind of anti-Bitcoin then, pro-dollar, this and that. Now he's really flipped his stance. I think he's got people around him pushing him this direction. But the reason I want to bring it up is because he seems to be driving a lot more people into crypto. And I think the crypto industry is really starting to get behind him as the potential candidate, because it's likely him and Biden, or him and whoever the Democratic Party puts up. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. But his poll numbers just keep going up and up and up. And there's this very strong correlation with his success right now in crypto. I think looking forward to a lot of positive things happening next year if he can get into office. And he's also said recently how important it is for the US to really be a bastion of crypto and to really accept things like mining in the US, to create favorable rules and regulations for innovation in the US around the Web3 industry. And the threat of having China open up to crypto could take that market away and could really create a disruption in the global Web3 space. And I think he has a point. And I think it's very fascinating. I'm just kind of curious if you have any thoughts on that correlation with, maybe Trump and crypto, and I think maybe how that can play into this next bull phase.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first, I love to discuss politics. Is one of my favorite topics. So I think that so I did my master thesis actually on how investor sentiment and crypto correlates with each other. And one of the things that I studied during my thesis was that how the correlation of the markets and the crypto is the traditional markets and crypto is really different. And I'm going to explain. Meaning that when everyone in general is happy, they tend to actually trust more the government and trust the fiat currencies. When everyone is in the shit, excuse my French here, but it's what we are seeing right now with the wars, war in Russia, war with Ukraine, war in Israel, like US, it's crazy, almost getting into a civil war right now. It's insane. Europe, it's insane. People distrust the government. People distrust the government, but people are tired of inflation. People are tired of everything. And what happens is, as more people distrust the government, more they look at alternative options. What is there as an alternative? Crypto. Crypto always has been a kind of an alternative solution to the system. And again, because right now we are going through a phase of everyone or the majority of people distrusting the system, don't want to trust in the US dollar. They don't want to trust in the euro. They want to trust what is out there that can actually bring me and my family value, because I don't trust banks anymore. And then you look at crypto going up and up and up. So this correlation is very interesting, because like the more people distrust the government, the more crypto goes up. And this is actually a mathematical fact. And so if you look at Trump and at his persona, he's the classical anti-government type guy, right? So he's what people say like, oh, he's the savior. He's the guy that's going to save the country. He's the guy that is anti-democrats or anti the system, and he wants to bring a new America or make America great again. And that fits perfectly with the narrative of crypto. It's like, oh, FU banks, we are going to do something bigger, something better, with better talent, and with something that actually is for everyone and everyone can enjoy. And I think that I'm not a political scientist, but as an analysis, if you look at the way that Trump is now supporting BTC, for me, is an amazing strategy for his campaign, because he's now saying not only that he wants to make America great again, but he also supports alternative forms of money that are anti-system, and then he also in a subliminary way, he says that, oh, I don't trust the system and I'm with you guys. And when people hear something like, wait a minute, Trump thinks like me, I need to vote for him because he also feels that the system is wrong. So I do think that it's more like, I don't know if he likes Bitcoin or if he uses Bitcoin at all, but for me, it's more like a political move.
He does. He does. He had a NFT collection that blew up and sold out. So he has a ton of Ethereum actually.
Crazy. Like that is insane. Like I didn't even know that. But like, yeah, but you see that I think that he's positioning himself as like the perfect anti-government kind of guy, but that at the end he's still in the government, right? Or he wants to run for the government. So it's like, oh, don't worry, guys, I will take your doubts and your fears with me, and I go to the office, to the White House, to make good changes. And people resonate with that. So I think that like the guy is like a political genius, I'll say. Like I don't know if he's going to do what he says that he's going to do. Some people say that it could be extremely bad if he goes to the office. I don't know. Again, I'm not a political scientist, but it's curious. The thing is, and I saw that he spoke about this in one of his conferences. He was one of the few guys that actually sit down with like President Putin and Xi Jinping and all these guys, and he actually made friendships with all these communist parties, and
Yeah.
this is actually impressive because the thing is, you as a president, you are like the BP of the government, right? You are doing business development. You need to have to do what we call in the company as investor relations. You see that a lot in companies nowadays. You have to have any investor relations, and Trump is that guy. He goes and he talks with everyone, the enemies, the good guys, the bad guys, and he makes sure that he's friends with everyone and that everyone respects him, and he can actually attract and makes sure that he creates what he wants and that he extracts what he wants. And I have to respect that because that's very, very smart. Because the worst thing that you can have is enemies all around you. Like that's not good for anyone.
Exactly. And as a US citizen, that's exactly how I feel. That's why I live in Colombia. I don't want to live in the US with Russian Navy vessels off the coast of Florida and North Korea saying that they're going to, blow up the continental US and Iran wanting to kill everybody. It's like, what world do we live in right now? Um, and I know for a fact that when we were in his presidency, like the world was under a cap. It was under control. Like this crap was not happening. And I think that's what a lot of people are yearning for again, is a sense of security.
The same, yeah. I also feel exactly the same. Like a lot of people say that, oh, Trump maybe is not like the right kind of guy, but when you look at Biden, come on, the guy, like he's Sleepy Joe, like,
He
and
is
I don't,
Sleepy Joe.
like I'm
He
taking
really
here,
is.
I'm taking here like almost a position, a political position here, but like like you cannot have a country as the US being run by a guy that is sleeping in a conference, that doesn't know what he's talking, and at the same time he's not friends with anyone, and that for me is concerning. Like I prefer to be friends with the guy that has all the friends and that I'll be safe. Because if right now Putin wants to invade the US, he will probably do it. Of course, it will start World War III and everyone will go into shit, but that can happen. With Trump, if he's actually friends with Putin, maybe there is a conversation. Maybe that will be stopped. And I guess that's on the interest of everyone. So you need to have investor relations slash BD president. That's the reality.
Yeah, it's definitely an election of issues. There's a lot of things that are wrong with the US right now, and that affects the world. And I don't think it's just Americans that are probably wanting him back. There's a lot of people around the world that want him back because the US was leading in a much better way, and there weren't all these wars and holy wars going on and money laundering and
For me, what is even more weird is, and this is like a deep political conversation, which is like, so for me as a Web3 founder, I work a lot with Asia because Asian market for crypto is really, really good. Like it's more than 25% of people in Asia use on a daily basis crypto. And when you look at Europe or even the US, it's under 5%. of crypto users. And the thing is, uh, like, look at Europe and the US, which is supposedly the most developed countries or continents, and
Mm-hmm.
are the ones at war, are the ones the most issues, Like, if I go around and I walk around in Singapore or in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Dubai, I have no issues. Everything is clean, everything is clear, no worries. If you walk around in London, in Paris, you're gonna get stabbed, you're gonna get killed. If you walk around in probably the Bay Area right now, in the Avenue, you're gonna get robbed, 100%. And that is, how can that happen in the country that is developed? You know, like, I look at Europe, and me as a European, I look at Europe and I say, like, this is a failed continent right now. This is a failed economy. Like, oh, we as Europeans, we are helping everyone. Good, but first let's help ourselves, because how can tourists come to France and get robbed? Like, that's not good. That's not a good image. For example, and just to finish this, ETCC was around the corner. So me and my team, we went for ETCC, and during ETCC, many people got robbed, mugged. Like, it was horrible, and especially for people from, like, America or Asia that came in for Europe for the first time. I had friends of mine from Asia asking me, like, "Is this Europe all the time? Like, I cannot walk in the street because I'm going to be stabbed." And I was like, "Well, I wish that I could tell you no, but unfortunately, this is the reality today."
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's the job of the politicians to change this, but I don't know what they are doing. But we need a change, and we need a more extreme and radical change. That's how I feel. That's how I think everyone feels, that because everyone is tired of this. It's just crazy. Your taxes keep rising, the prices keep rising, but the security and the health and everything keeps getting lower and lower. Like, what is happening?
Politics is like a pendulum. It's what I tell people all the time. It swings back and forth over the years. Right now, it swung very left. Eventually, probably soon it'll swing back very right, and it'll always do that. To reel it back to Inception LRT and to wrap up the episode, where can people go to learn a bit more, to start staking and restaking? Where's the website, the socials, the community? Where do you want to send people?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in terms of learning everything about staking and what we do, definitely the documentation of Inception, you have all there. You can access our website, which is www.inceptionlrt.com, and you have everything there. So we have your dashboard that you can stake in any form of staking available in the market. We have it. You have the link to our documentation where you can learn everything. And I also encourage everyone to join our Discord or our Telegram groups, where we have a big community on DeFi, on LRTs, and that you can, of course, share ideas and talk with us. So we have every week, on every Friday, an AMA on Discord with the founders of Inception, me and my co-founder, that we always do every Friday religiously. It's booked every Friday, and we talk with active members of the community, with everyone. So if anyone is a new user, wants to learn about Inception, please come to our Discord, talk with us. We are here to help you, to onboard you, and again, we are more than welcome to speak with you and to learn. And if you have some suggestions, please do. For example, the Flash Unstake solution was actually something that was being suggested by one user, actually, that came to me and said, "I don't want to wait 7 days. Can you make my money move faster?" And then we created a Flash Unstake solution where you can unstake in a matter of minutes. So that's something that we are always happy to receive, any suggestions from the community, and to participate with community, and to make sure that we are building the best product that the client needs and wants. So it's not anymore about ourselves. What we want is about what the client needs. We will build it, and we will make sure that it works in the best transparent and secure way as possible.
And then do you guys primarily do those AMAs and those talks in Discord, or do you also do it in like Twitter Spaces or other mediums?
Twitter Spaces, we normally do it when we are invited, or when we are doing, like, for example, roundtables with other protocols or with other DeFi companies. We normally do it like once a week on Twitter, normally with any other companies or partners. But on the Discord is mainly for our internal community. So if you are looking to get to know us and really get inside the protocol or really understand what we do, the Discord is definitely the best way. If you are looking at knowing more about our DeFi integrations, our partners, and how things are going, for example, for the future in terms of future partnerships, Twitter Spaces are definitely one to look at. And everything is in our Twitter. So all our socials are available on the website. So just follow us on Twitter, go on Discord, Telegram, and everything is pretty much there.
João, thank you for taking the time. It's been a really good episode. We dove into everything from what you guys are doing at Inception LRT and restaking for Bitcoin, which I think is incredibly fascinating, as well as the opportunity that presents and opens up, and then the broader market, where we're at with DeFi, with this upcoming crypto bull cycle, where things could develop from there, and then a little bit of politics sprinkled on at the very end. So it's been a fantastic episode, man, and appreciate the time.
Man, thank you so much. Cheers. Thanks.